Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this TradeStation Getting Started. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm using a different setup today, different computer, different microphone. So hopefully things are coming through to you clearly. My name is Jesus Nava. I am the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. And for me, it's always a pleasure to be here talking about the TradeStation platform. Today, we're going to highlight the TradeStation Desktop. You probably have noticed that as a TradeStation client, you get access to your TradeStation account through different platforms. The desktop, which is the flagship product of TradeStation, you can also trade your account using your mobile device, and you can also use your web browser to trade on your account. But today, we're going to highlight the desktop, as we said earlier. I can take your questions as we go along. Since I'm using only one monitor, I may not be focused on the chat from the very beginning, but feel free to send your questions in. And maybe at the very end, I'll look at the chat and see if I can answer some questions live so that everybody here walks away with answers. The title of today's presentation is Discover TradeStation Desktop Core Features. And let's go through some disclosures before I jump on the platform. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only, that active trading is not suitable for everyone, and past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. If anybody needs additional details on these disclosures, please go to www.tradestation.com/important-information. All right, guys, thank you for taking time out of your schedules to be here and learn a little bit about the TradeStation platform. Let me switch over to my desktop and talk a little bit about what you see here on the screen. Every so often, TradeStation will release an update, which sometimes fixes bugs, sometimes it enhances certain features, sometimes it introduces new features, and sometimes it just works on behind the curtains and just improves the performance of the platform. When you open up the TradeStation Today Workspace, which is what I see here on the screen, sometimes this modal pops up letting you know what's been fixed. This is a TradeStation Update 80, which I'm not sure if I've applied already to my TradeStation. I think I have. I think there's a newer update than Update 80, but when you open up the TradeStation Today Workspace, you get this modal letting you know what has been fixed, what has been enhanced, and all the details about that recent update. Let me go ahead and X this out. By the way, if you have not seen the TradeStation Today Workspace or you don't remember it, just keep in mind that if you go to the apps menu, you'll find the TS Today button right there at the top. This allows you to open up the workspace, which has some useful information here. So let's walk through some of the items that you can access in the TS Today. On the left-hand side, we have a little drop down here, and we have a collection of quick start videos to the popular applications of the TradeStation Desktop. You're welcome to watch those videos from within the TradeStation platform, or you can go to the YouTube channel, the TradeStation YouTube channel, and you find a playlist there. Right here in the middle, we have a connection to our news provider. Over here on the right, we have upcoming events, so you can also register for events from within the TS Today workspace. Today is the 4th. This is the class that we're doing right now. Also, this afternoon, we have a presentation on options, is analyzing and graphing option spreads, risk-reward profiles with OptionStation Pro. So we're going to talk a little bit about the analysis technology that is inside of the TradeStation platform, specifically OptionStation Pro, to allow you to trade options a little bit more efficiently, if we can say that, But all these events that you see here on the right-hand side are also available on the TradeStation website, so you can also go there if you'd rather register for events from the TradeStation website. So in a nutshell, this is the TradeStation Today workspace. And this is what you see first when you log into TradeStation and you've just installed TradeStation. If you don't want to use the TradeStation Today workspace, that's totally fine. You can right-click on the tab that you see right there at the bottom and click on Close Workspace. And then you just have this blank workspace allowing you to create any sort of application on your desktop. Let me go ahead and get started with a chart. I'm going to go to Apps. Notice the collection of different applications that you can open inside of the desktop. Chart Analysis is the one that gives me a chart. And anytime that I need a chart, I just go to Apps and click on Chart Analysis as many times as I need charts. There's no limit to the number of chart windows that you can have open inside of a TradeStation. I would suppose the limitation is or comes from how much system resources you have in your and how much system resources you have available on your computer. If you find that your TradeStation is starting to slow down, maybe you've opened up too many things on your platform. So depending on the type of TradeStation user you are, if you're a standard user, you may not need that many system resources, but it depends. It all depends on how you're using TradeStation, how many applications you have open, because there's a very common question that I get is, okay, how much computing power do I need to run TradeStation? Well, that all depends on what your plans are in using TradeStation. If you plan on using, dozens of different chart analysis windows, updating tick by tick, running these advanced calculations on custom programming, then you may need a much more powerful computer than just a standard user. But having several charts open with the indicators that are built in may not require as much as you think. So hopefully that answers the question for somebody that's asking, okay, what type of computer do I need? But it all depends. That's the answer. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab this chart and resize it so that it fills the whole desktop, and I can grab it by the corner. A few things that I can do to the chart. Changing the symbol is one of the first things. What symbol is this? You look on the top left corner and you can see that this is Tesla. If I wanted to see a chart of Disney, for example, I type in the symbol DIS. Notice that I'm using my hands on the keyboard, and this box that you see right there in the middle, this box right here, it's called the command line, pops up automatically. And this happens without you even doing anything. All you need to do is press a key on the keyboard and you get the command line. You see the symbol that I typed in, DIS, and I hit the enter key, and now it changes the chart to Disney. On Disney, I have a couple of active orders. I have this order at the very top, and I have this order at the very bottom, which is a bracket on my position. If you guys see on the right-hand side, I am long 100 shares of Disney. I bought those shares at what the yellow highlight is, 89.59. And I have a target right here at the very top at $94, and I have a stop loss at 87. Anytime that you have active orders or active positions for a symbol, the chart application will automatically display that position with all the different orders you have open. Sometimes I find that very convenient. Sometimes I find that it's in the way and it's affecting my analysis. For example, notice how my chart right now, it's making up space to display my target line and my stop line, and the candlesticks are right somewhere in the middle. If I want to disconnect my chart analysis from my trading activity, that is done very easily by going to settings and going into account orders and positions. From there, all I need to do is check the box for status. Notice that it removes the check mark and then click OK. That removes that information, and I can always come back and turn it on. But sometimes if you want to do some analysis and a lot of this, trading activity is in the way, you can disable it momentarily, do your analysis, and then turn it back on if you're needed. All right. So changing the symbol you can do very quickly by typing it in. Let me go ahead and bring up Home Depot, for example, symbol HD. I hit enter, and this is a Home Depot chart. I can also change the time frame. You know, we have a dedicated drop down right here at the very top of the chart that allows you to, select time frames. But a lot of times what I do is I just type it in as well. You can see that the selection that we have here are one of the, are some of the time frames that are used the most. But sometimes you may need something that is not here on the list. For example, if you want to load a 120-minute chart, that's not available here on this list, but I can type it in. I can say 120 space MIN. You can spell out minutes, or you can just use the abbreviation MIN. And if I hit enter, then I'm looking at a 120-minute chart of Home Depot. One thing that happened right now, maybe this is a question that you have, you see there's a black area on the right-hand side. The reason for that is because chart analysis instead of TradeStation is going to give you a default amount of historical data. And on a 120-minute chart, I think it gives you about 30 or 60 days of data, which is all that you see. Which means that if you want to fill the whole chart, you have two things or two options. You can either increase the bar spacing, and that is done by using the up arrow key. So find the up arrow key on your keyboard and press it multiple times, and you can see that the spacing increases. Now, if I do the down arrow key, the spacing decreases. So I use those buttons all the time to increase or decrease the bar spacing. So I can do that to fill the chart, or I can load more history, and I can say, give me 180 days. Notice that in the command line, I am typing 180 days. When you use this qualifier of days, weeks, or months, TradeStation will take that as a historical data request. So 180 days is just asking TradeStation to load 180 trading days to my chart. I'm going to do that. And this is what I get. 180 days of 100-minute candlesticks for Home Depot. Now, if I press the down arrow key multiple times again, notice that I keep on squeezing the chart as far as it goes, and I still get some black area on the right, which is fine. I can say, give me 2 years of data. I'm typing 2 years, hitting enter. I see a PD on the top left corner of my chart. The PD in yellow means pending data, and you see how the chart is not filled up yet. The PD goes away, and I get 2 years of data, not enough to fill my chart. So I'm going to do 10 years. So again, I see the PD on the top right is going to gradually download the data for me on a minute interval. I'm going to go back 10 years on Home Depot, and hopefully I'll get the chart in a few seconds and see if it fills the whole chart. All right, it's taking a little bit longer than I expected. Let's go ahead and check. I'm just waiting for my chart to come back. Depending on the traffic on internet, sometimes it may take longer. You know, the internet here at the place that I'm at, it's not the fastest. So that's probably the reason why it's taking a little bit longer than what I expected. When I'm at home, you know, I have faster internet. So there we go. Now it fills up the chart. You know, it took a little bit longer. So depending on how fast your internet is, you know, you may see some delays, but you can see how the PD disappeared. And now I have a full chart. If I scroll all the way back on this chart, I'm just grabbing it by the scroll bar, and I'm going to click and hold my mouse button, which gives me the data tips window. Whenever you want to see details on the candlesticks, if you want to see what the high or the low or the closing price was, you can just click on the background and position your vertical axis on the bar that you want to analyze. And if I go to the very first bar on this chart, somewhere as close as I can, you can see that this chart goes back to September 5th. You can see the date right there in the data tips window, September 4th, 2014. So 10 years of historical data. This was when Home Depot was worth $90. You can see how the opening price on September 4th, 10 years ago, was $90.49. The price right now, let's go back here to the very front of the chart. The price right now is $365 per share. Okay, let me open up the chart again. So remember, you have this dedicated time frames. If you like the drop downs, that's fine too. Let's say that I want to do a 60-minute chart of Home Depot. Here we go. And I want this to go 60 days back. I'm going to go to the Studies tab and go to Add Study. So in Studies, Add Studies, you get access to all the indicators you can add on TradeStation. And what I'm going to add for this presentation is something that we can all relate to because it's a very common technical indicator. It's a moving average 2 lines. 2 lines because each one of the lines is set as a different parameter or different length. I'm going to click OK, and that's where the 2 lines show up. So anytime you need a study, just go to Studies, Add Studies. You can click on or select any of the ones you want to add to the chart, and they go on automatically. I didn't have to specify the parameters because it uses default settings, but I can change those. Let's say, for example, that I wanted to analyze or I wanted to use a 30 period versus a 60 period. I'm going to double click on the lines. And when you double click on the lines, it's going to take you to a dialog titled Customize Indicator. I'm a fan of double clicking. And a lot of times, TradeStation allows you to modify items by double clicking on them. And that's usually the shortcut that I take. I just double click on the line and it takes me to Customize Indicator. You just have to be careful that you don't miss the line, because if you double click somewhere else, for example, if I double click on the background, it takes me to Customize Window. And if I double click on the candlesticks, it takes me to a customized symbol. What I want is to customize the indicator. So anytime you double click on an indicator, just make sure that you are in the Customize Indicator dialog, where I'm going to go into Inputs. Inputs, by the way, is a way for you to change the parameters of the indicator you're putting on there. As you can see, the default parameters are 9 and 18. What I wanted to do is set this to 30 and 60. Right, let me go ahead and click OK. And you can see how the nature of those moving averages change. And it's showing me a different calculation. All right, so that's the way that you format analysis techniques on your TradeStation. Let's see. Walid is asking a question. How can I add the volume to the chart with the same colors of candles, up and down? That's a good question, Walid. Let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. I'm going to go to the Studies menu here and go to Add Studies. Volume, for the most part, is just one color. Let me show you. That's what it looks like. It's all red bars at the very bottom. A variation of this, let me go ahead and remove this volume indicator, and I can just click on it and then press delete on the keyboard. That's the easiest way for you to remove an indicator. Let me go to Studies and Add Studies, but this time, instead of selecting the volume indicator, I'm going to select the volume average and then click OK. Volume average is a color-coded volume indicator that colors the volume based on what the closing price is in relationship to the prior closing. So it's a little different than candlestick concept, because candlestick is the relationship between the open and the close. So if it closed higher than the open, it's green, but if it closed lower than the open, is red. The volume down here is being colored based on close to close. So if you have a higher close than the prior close, then it's going to be blue. And if you have a lower close than the prior close, then you're going to be on red. So to color code the volume based on your condition, let's go ahead and see if we can modify this. I'm going to double click on volume. Yeah, up color cyan, red color red. It would have to be modified in order for you to get the colors that you want. That's what would need to happen, because if you want to have the same color as the candlesticks, you need that relationship, of open to close. I don't believe we have something built in, but this is the volume average indicator is the closest one to that concept. Is just comparing the close to close. So just keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about alerting. The moving averages that I put there on the chart. Of course, the signal that the moving average the moving average has is based on the crossover between the two lines. Whenever you have a fast calculated average that crosses above this low average, that is a bullish signal. And whenever you have this crossover happening to the downside, it's considered a bearish signal. So crossovers on those two lines are important, are significant. And if I double click on my indicator, I can go to the alerts tab and I can enable the alert. That's all you need to do. All the alert criteria or the calculated values are happening by default. There is alert criteria built into the moving averages. So when I enable the alert, it'll look at that criteria and alert me if it's met. I can say, give me one alert per bar. That way, if the alert happens on every single tick, I won't get annoyed. One alert per bar means I have an opportunity to get an alert every 60 minutes. And you can choose the sound or the pop-up message that you want to use for that alert. You can click on configure here if you want to change that and change the sound, change the duration of the pop-up, maybe set up an email alert to be sent to you. Those are things that you can do right here from the configure button. But once you have the checkbox checked, that's it. You have an alert enabled. As soon as those two moving averages cross on the current bar, I see that they crossed, a few bars ago, but not currently, I will get an alert. Pretty cool, huh? Now, the workspace does need to be open, but setting up alerts inside of a workspace does allow me to go to different ones and look at different things. Let me click on the plus here at the very bottom left of my platform, and that is going to open up another workspace for me. One of the things that I do here on my platform is a lot of scanning. I scan for signals, and then I test those signals using strategy backtest. But the signals are very easily scanned for using a tool that we call the radar screen. Let me go ahead and open up radar screen for you. It's right here, radar screen. Radar screen is like a quotes window on steroids because it provides you so much more functionality than giving you a quote. Of course, from the get-go, it may just feel like as a regular quote because I can type in a symbol, like let's type in Microsoft. And it provides me a quote. Microsoft is currently trading at $407.31. And if I look at the volume today, 3.4 million shares have been traded. So it is a regular quotes window. But what I want to do is I want to use radar screen as a scanning tool. So rather than inserting just one symbol, let me go ahead and delete that symbol. I'm going to go to the data tab, go to add symbol list, and I'm going to add the NASDAQ 100. Okay, let me resize this. I'm going to be removing a few of the columns here, like bid, ask, high, and low. So let me highlight by clicking and dragging on the columns and then pressing delete on the keyboard. Let me go ahead and resize my radar screen because I also want to have a chart here on the right-hand side. In fact, let me copy the chart that I have here on this other workspace because it has the moving averages and it has the volume indicator that I want to use. If you right-click on the chart, you have the ability to copy the window and then go to a different workspace and then paste the window. So notice that it creates a duplicate of the chart, which I can resize and fit in this little area that I have on the right side of my workspace. So why am I leaving this open space inside of my radar screen? Because I want to add the moving averages. All studies and all technical indicators that you find inside of TradeStation can be used in this manner, where you put them inside of a radar screen, apply it to 100, 200, 500, doesn't matter how many symbols you add. Well, it does matter because there is a limitation of 1,000. So once you start reaching symbols over 1,000, then it won't be able to calculate historical values, which is okay because we have other tools like the scanner that allow you to narrow down the universe of symbols to symbols that you would want to trade. There's a lot of symbols out there that don't trade and don't provide any liquidity for you to have the comfort of, opening and closing positions quickly. A lot of times, if you trade an e-liquid stock, you may be stuck for a while trying to sell something because there's no buyers on the other side. But going back to my example, let's go ahead and scan for the moving average idea. I'm going to click here on the plus. For this example, I am going to stick to the default values. The moving average this is the exponential one though. Okay, so 2-line moving average simple. Let me move it down. And it shows right there on the chart. It's calculated for every single row. So every single row here is acting as its individual chart, where it loads historical data to be able to download or to be able to calculate those moving averages. Now, in order for my chart and my radar screen to match, I need to change the indicators here on the chart back to what it was before, which is 9 and 18. So let me double click on the lines, go to the inputs tab, and change the fast to 9 and the slow to 18. That way my averages will match. So you can see that, let me link the two windows together. I'm going to link the two windows together so that when I click on a symbol here in radar screen, it updates here on my chart. So let's go ahead and link the two windows together. And let me, okay, let me do that again. It's not linking. There we go. So now these two windows are in the symbol green group. And what I'm going to do here is click on any of these symbols. Let me click on dog. This is data dog, D dog. And you can see the averages are 114, 112, which are not the averages here. Another thing that you have to keep in mind, and this is good that it's happening to me because if you look at these numbers on the moving averages, they do not match the averages here. The reason for that is because radar screen also has this interval component because it has to, when you use technical calculations, you have to tell TradeStation what type of data you're going to be using. Is it daily? Is it intraday? In this particular case, we're using 5-minute data, which is totally different than what the strategy or what the chart is doing. If you look over here at the top, we're using a 60-minute time frame. So in order for the values to match, then we need to change that time frame. Let me change the time frame here on the chart to 5 minutes. Now take a look at the averages. We have 110.51 and 110.13. Are those the same ones that are here? 110.13, 110.51, exactly the same. So whenever you have discrepancies between the values, it's probably because either your time frame is off or your parameters for the calculations is off. Okay. I see a question here in the chat. How do I build or create multiple change and percent change time frames for every stock on my list? Meaning how I can create columns for each stock on the list to show dollar and percentage change for weekly, daily, 60-minute, and 5-minute. Yes. Yes, you can use, yeah, the problem with that is that there's only one interval associated with the symbol. So we have, in this case, for example, if I'm looking at Datadog, there's only 5-minute time frame. And what you're saying is that you want a weekly percent change, a daily percent change, a 60-minute, and a 5-minute. And that's why it is challenging because there's only one interval. So what you would need to do is, let me just think about this for a moment. Which is not really a percent change. For example, if you're looking at daily bars and you calculate the percent change of 5 trading days, you would say that that's a week, but not necessarily a week. So to be completely accurate, what I would do is probably have the symbol repeated multiple times. So over here in radar screen, let me show you. I can, for Datadog, let me go and right click here for where the 33 is. I'm going to go to data and I'm going to say add a blank row. And then I'm going to go here one more time, data, and add a blank row. I'm going to do the same symbol, dog. Once I do that, I can click on, this middle one and say, I want that to be my daily. And the third one, I want that to be my weekly. There we go. So we have the 5-minute, daily, and weekly. And notice how the fast average is calculated based on those time frames. The same for percent change. If you're looking at percent change, this percent change will not give you a difference because this one is coming from the server and it's just the percent change from the close of yesterday. So regardless of what you put in here, this will not change because that's what the percent change is from the close of yesterday. You would have to use a study that's called percent change. Let me go here. I believe percent change is going to be at the top because I think, or I recall seeing percent change. Here it is as part of the list. Percent change. Let me try that one more time. Percent change. I'm going to add it and then click OK. And here we go. Now let's go ahead and change the settings here. So the percent change, let me go to the inputs. This is looking at 14 days or 14 periods. So let me click OK. If I look at the period here, hold on, let me just go ahead and dismiss this. So if I look over here, you can see that on a 5-minute, I'm down 99 cents from 15 5-minute bars. On a daily time frame, my change is $3.30, or dropped $3.34. And for my weekly, I'm up a 0.18. So that's how you can do percent change in multiple time frames. Okay. Gerardo is asking another question. How to fix the data for every candlestick I put the mouse on right at the top of every window? What you need to do is go to the data menu right here at the top and then click on data window. That's the solution, data and data window. This makes the data window a floating kind of thing or a floating kind of box that you can position anywhere, maybe resize it to the size that you want. And then anytime you click on a candle, then the data updates inside of that data window, allowing you to see the details of that bar. Okay, so data and data window. Perfect. In my scanning tool here, let me go ahead and remove the percent change study. What I'm going to do is I want to look for symbols that are crossing their moving averages in real time. So out of all these 100 symbols that I'm looking at, which ones are crossing right now? Let's go ahead and do that step by step. I'm going to right click on the header for the moving average and go to studies. And I'm going to click on edit moving average to line for all symbols. So I'm doing a change for all the list of symbols. And what I need to do is go to the alerts tab, enable the alert. This time I am going to choose alert continuously because I'm using this as a visual cue, not necessarily to get pop-ups or to get sirens going off. So I am going to disable my messaging center. That's why I'm choosing alert continuously and for messaging none. Notice that it says in parentheses for use when scanning for alerts in radar screen, specifically designed for that. I'm going to click OK. And when I turn on the alert, you see markers here on the right side of the column. The little corner in yellow just means that there's an alert enabled inside that cell, but every so often I'm going to get a red marker, which are my real-time alerts. I know that a Datadog on a daily time frame is crossing its 2-line moving average. Let me go ahead and click that. Okay, and that's already on my screen. What I need to do is change the time frame, because if you look at the chart of Datadog is set to 5 minutes, and the alert is being triggered on a daily chart. But if I click on time frame and I click on daily, I get the alert down here. Notice that this is the pop-up message that we enabled. I'm getting a chart analysis alert for DDOG at 1:10:31. So what's happening? I look over here at the chart and I see the 2 lines crossing in real time. So that's something you can do on your radar screen. Look for real-time signals. And I can then take this one step further and use the filter that shows here at the top of my radar screen. And I can say, I want to filter my radar screen to only show me the moving average in the moving average study, but I'm going to set it to the alert. And I'm looking for a true alert. Notice what happens to my radar screen. It's automatically filtered. So out of the 100 symbols that are in the NASDAQ index, I have 9 unique symbols that are triggering the alert of the moving averages right now. Is it a bearish or a bullish signal? That's still something to determine. But for example, right here for Datadog, I see that there's a bearish signal. If I click on another symbol here, like for example, Meta is also giving me a bearish signal because the 2 moving averages are crossing. Show you some trading. I see a question here in the chat. Let me take a look. Okay, no additional questions. So let me go ahead and show you some trading functionality. Let me go here and open up a new workspace. Open up the matrix. And the matrix allows you to trade very quickly by clicking on the blue to buy or clicking on the red to sell. No more difficulties than that. So this is Datadog that we looked at on my radar screen. Let's suppose that I'm trading 100 shares. So the quantity over here on the right says 100. And let's suppose that I want to look at or trade this at 110 and $40. I want to come over here to the blue. I click once and my order is submitted. My confirmations, by the way, are turned off. And this is something you can do on your TradeStation as well. I would recommend you keep them on until you have a good grasp on the technology so that you avoid, errors in placing your trades. Also, confirmations are good because it allows you to double check your price. Sometimes you may fat finger a quantity, and instead of trading 100 like you wanted to, you wind up with a 1,000 share position. So things like that are prevented by having confirmations on. But if you really want to turn your matrix into a one-click order entry tool, then disabling confirmations allows you to do this, because I can click on the blue or the red to submit these orders. Notice that I can click on the blue box to cancel the order, and I can enter it again. Let's suppose that I want to go short Datadog, but I want to go short at $12. I'm sorry, $11. So if it goes right here to 11, I want to click here, and then I'm selling short at $111. And I can see the orders in relationship to what's happening to the current market. So I am a little bit away from the current price, but sometimes I like to have a chart open on the right-hand side because it allows me to see my working orders in relationship to prior highs and lows. So let me go ahead and open it up. I'm going to grab it by the corner so that we can resize it and bring it in here. And you can see the order right here on the right-hand side sitting to buy 100 shares for $111. To get filled, I can change that to a market order. So let me go ahead and scroll up to where my order is. I'm going to click here and say cancel, replace with a market order. Order filled. I get filled. I'm not sure if you heard my computer with the audible confirmation. You see that yellow line here on the chart, and I'm losing money. Very, very, very used to that. My trades, turn red as soon as I put them on. But you can see real-time P&L also inside of the matrix. You can click right on the P&L to set profit targets and stop losses, which is convenient. Or you can do it here with the OCO. Ideally, when you trade something,
order rejected.
Got an order rejected somewhere, but I'm not sure where. Ideally, what you want to do is plan your trades beforehand and have an entry plan and also have an exit plan all together. And you can place that trade all at once. So you don't have to, for example, right now I have 100 shares of Datadog, but I have no stop loss or I have no profit target. So the trade is not managing itself. It's just there. And I have a position open and it's maybe a risky position because I have nothing protecting me. When you enter a trade, you can attach targets and stops automatically to make this process easier. Let me go here to Home Depot. Let me change the symbol to HD. Okay, let's say this is a stock that is priced pretty high at $364. So setting a 10-cent profit or a 10-cent stop would be very tight, and it's probably going to get filled within seconds. So when that is the case, sometimes I like to use the chart because the chart gives me a bigger range of prices. For example, let me go ahead and click on Attach OSO. This is a bracket that allows me to set a profit target and a stop loss. But I'm going to click here on the ellipsis and notice that for the limit and for the stop, you're going to choose an opposite of primary. So whatever price you get filled on that primary order, then that's what establishes your profit target and your stop loss. Let's say that I want to do my target. Let me click here inside the price offset. I'm going to set it to $20. And for the stop market, I'm going to set it to $5. So a 4-to-1 ratio. I'm going to click OK. And then with the checkbox attached here to OSO, all I need to do is I'm going to buy at the asking price right here. So I get filled. I don't see my orders yet.
Order filled.
Uh-oh. I already had the thing is that I had a position open for Home Depot already, and it just traded a $100, well, 100 shares more. What I don't see are my exits, probably because, let me just check here. Maybe because I said $5 below, so 59. There it is. That's where my stop is. I don't see it here on the chart. Oh, because the chart is not Home Depot. It's Datadog. Let's switch the chart to Home Depot. And there we go. Now we have our entry, 100 shares. And then we have our profit target, $20 above, and our stop loss, $10 below. So you can see that whenever you have these big ranges, when you want to set up a profit target that is far away, it makes a lot of sense to have a chart open because now I'm able to see those orders in relationship to historical data. In fact, if I change the time frame here to a daily chart, it looks even a little bit better because now the range is bigger and I can see how the orders play in context with historical price fluctuations. All right. Okay, so those are. Now, Joseph, this class doesn't include setting up hotkeys. I have a video on YouTube. If you want to, send me an email and I'll share that with you. My email, put it right here in the chat, is education@tradestation.com. You can reach me there. I do a full 45-minute session on hotkeys and how to run commands. So I would want you to watch that video if you want to learn that functionality. But let me know if anybody has any questions. Please reach out to me via email as well. But these are the three areas that I wanted to highlight on the platform, charting, scanning with a radar screen, and also placing trades on the matrix and seeing those trades on the chart. Hopefully you walk away with something today. If you're new to TradeStation, welcome to the TradeStation family. I want to tell you that we meet every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time to talk about TradeStation's technology, and it's an opportunity for you to ask questions. So make sure you join me every Wednesday if you can. But remember that this afternoon we have that special options trading presentation or options graphing presentation at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Make sure that you go to the events page and register for that as well. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.